What is going on, everyone? My name is Drew Spencer with the React and Attack Football Podcast, where we try and go over NFL content from all 32 teams every single day. And boy, oh boy, there's always something going on in the NFL world. And if you like what you hear, make sure to like and subscribe. And let's go. The first word that comes to mind after watching last night's games: penalties. Uh, both games, all the way around. We'll start with the Jets-Dolphins game. Is the Jets had 13 penalties of their own. The Dolphins, I believe, had 8 or 9. Very, very long, kind of sloppy games, despite the fact, obviously, this Dolphins-Jets game was a little bit better to begin with. And I was a little bit surprised with the outcome. I had the Jets taking that game against Miami, but despite Miami coming away with the win, and the Jets were still in that game, right? But they shot themselves in the foot multiple times. Some good looks, some good, like really the plan that they had was nice, but those penalties killed themselves. And on top of that, you fumble the ball multiple times. Justin Fields just gets it ripped out of his hands on a strip sack. And then Brees Hall fumbles right at the 1 yard line. And this is a 27-20 game that they lose. And yeah, if they can clean that up, I think it's the other way around, all things considered, because once Tyreek Hill went down for the Dolphins, this offense outside of Devon Achane really wasn't going. I mean, you know, Devon or Darren Waller, I should say, former Raider tight end who's had a bit of a, I guess, resurgence coming in off the couch, essentially, or as he quoted, off the rock, coming back off the rocking chair. um, he comes in and gets 2 touchdowns today for the Finns and helps them put over. But just overall, not really an enticing win if you're a Miami fan. And to rub the salt in the wound, Tyreek goes down uh, probably for the year. That absolutely, as that was a really gruesome injury. And I rewatched it like a slow motion of it, and I was like, oh, yeah, his knee's not supposed to bend that way. Yeah, pretty brutal stuff, but they were able to get it done without him, and it's going to be interesting to see where the Finns offense goes without that dynamism from Tyreek Hill, obviously, regardless if you like the guy or not or anything. I mean, he's still an extraordinary talent, but yeah, that is a back-breaking injury. It may be one of those injuries where Tyreek, after all the success he's had in this league already, might just be like, nah, I'm good. I'll hang it up after this. I mean, who knows? Uh, but definitely a brutal injury for the Finns there. But they were able to walk away and escape with a win at home there against the Jets. The Jets spiraled to 0-4, their worst start since 2020. Crazy news there. As for the other game that took place on Monday between the Denver Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals, it happened just the way as I predicted yesterday. An absolute, snooze fest all the way around. The Bengals had no shot. I mean, even in my prediction, I spotted them 10 points, and I guess even I was a bit more optimistic about maybe what this Bengals offense could do. But no, they were just absolutely stalwarted completely throughout the game. Add in extra penalties. I mean, at one point, by like the first quarter, they had like 8 penalties for like 45 yards or some shit already in that game. It was just a absolute slot fest. Denver Broncos defense did not give them a chance. And this Bengals season is so much in jeopardy that I don't even think, even if Joe Burrow does make a remarkable comeback, kind of like Brock Purdy, he was able to get back out there sooner than anticipated. Now, obviously, Joe Burrow's severity of his case is much more. But I mean, if it's week 15, week 14, and he's like, oh, I can come back, like, you're not going to play him. There's no way in hell that this team can function. And, people can clam the, hit the table and shit for them to trade, go get Kirk Cousins, go get this. They're not going to do that. They don't have the money technically to really do that. And where does that really get them? uh, I don't. I mean, even if you were to replace and get another quarterback, there's still a litany of other problems. This offensive line is wet cardboard, and this defense is non-existent. It doesn't matter that you have Trey Hendricks in there. Um, It's just all around sloppy, and this is the results you're gonna get, right? And so I'm not really surprised by this absolute snooze fest of a game. Um, and yeah, good game for the Broncos, I guess. But when it comes to that Bengals loss and the AFC North as a whole, things got shaken up even more with Lamar Jackson. Obviously, he exited that game against Kansas City, and now we know more reports he is set to miss at least the next 2 weeks, I think, or at least 1 week, maybe 3 games at the most. It's kind of see where he's at week to week basis, but that is huge. And with the Steelers only a game ahead of Cincinnati at this point, essentially, uh, and Ravens going down, and I have no faith in the Browns. I mean, I love their defense, but I mean, their offense is atrocious. They're not going to win anything in this AFC North. But yeah, this is wide open, and they might fool themselves to think, hey, we might still have a chance, especially if the Ravens are floundering and the Steelers, who are all in with this, Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, and yes, they're finding ways to win. Their defense is definitely coming along. So yeah, the Steelers are finally looking at kind of by default, kind of looking like the runner up so far in the AFC North. Obviously, Lamar Jackson will eventually come back, but this is a huge, head start for the Steelers. And because I have no faith in Cincy without Joe Burrow, and like I said about the Browns, and even with the Ravens getting Lamar Jackson back, they still have a litany of other injuries as well that are just, you know, it's going to be difficult as hell. So this AFC North is really wide open. If you asked me at the beginning of the year, I was like, dude, the Ravens got this easily. And then, maybe it's either Cincy or the Steelers, right, who maybe are kind of pecking at each other to see who can get in that final spot. Um, yeah, now it's kind of like, wow, this great hailed division is so battered and banged up on, every team in that division, right, to a certain extent. But yeah, um, the Steelers looking pretty solid in that regard, and again, showing the world, um, with these injuries and stuff that anything can happen. Wanted to cover one other game that happened on Sunday between the Bears and the Raiders, and just my thoughts on it, as that game was wild. And very sloppy. I've actually, on this channel have kind of said like, oh yeah, this Raiders offense under Pete Carroll and Geno Smith as this, bridge kind of franchise kind of guy, right? Setting things up, and now they brought in Ash and Ginty. They have Brock Bowers. I like their receivers taking another step. I think that Trey Tucker breakout is really not all that crazy to me. Um, and those pieces are able to get involved, but what I didn't account for, Geno Smith just throwing 3 interceptions, leads the league in interceptions this year with 7. He has thrown 2 games now with, I think, 2 or more interceptions. It's been bad, man. And the mental mistakes now, his first game against the Patriots, maybe not a high bar, but he was slinging it, right? And I was like, oh yeah, this is a taste of what the Raiders offense can do. And even though this Raiders offense still was able to get some nice chunk plays against this Bears defense, as Ashton Genty finally gets going, he looks awesome. His touchdown run, where he just breaks, off the final defender, that was such a cool play. It was like, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. But, it just, in a game that was so close, so back and forth, where even, Caleb Williams and the Bears made their own mistakes as well, the Raiders just with those shots in the foot again, just yeah. And now it's one of those situations where, okay, you brought in Geno Smith to stabilize, but I know it's only a few weeks into the year, but you don't really want to, give up on him. But damn, like, you're supposed to stabilize, and now he's putting the, games in losing situations now. I think the Raiders definitely had a chance to win that game, obviously, but those constant back-breaking turnovers screwed them. But I will give props though to the Bears as well. Ben Johnson trying to do some of his trickery. Caleb Williams did the this little stumble thing that Jared Goff did last year. Now it didn't go for a long conversion or anything. It was an incomplete, but it was fun. The moment that I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that was designed for him to kind of trip up a little bit. Just fun stuff to see that as it's going on. I can kind of tell that Caleb Williams in this offense is getting a little bit more comfortable. Now, he wasn't perfect. He still had some head scratching moments and stuff, but was able to persevere. And he's been back and forth, man, this year. So we'll see. Something to monitor, but this was a nice win for Chicago, even though it was an ass clenching type of game, But just had to get my thoughts out, and I feel like I've been dooming and glooming too much on Chicago. So wanted to at least shout them out here and say nice job.